I don't know about you guys, but this gen is a strangely amazing year for Sega revivals. Shenmue HD was released last month, a Wonder Boy game got a remake last year, and of course, the biggest news for this year when it comes to Sega games, in my opinion of course, is Streets of Rage 4 being an actual thing. Yep, a sequel to a game from 4 gens ago is legit, and from what they've shown of the trailer, the title looks good in its gameplay and graphics. Now when it comes to my excitement level, I love the games a lot, but I'm just expecting a decent game. Even with this cautious anticipation, there are a lot of things Lizard Cube can do to make it amazing, and this is what this video is about. Things I want to see in Streets of Rage 4. When comprising this list, there's a lot of stuff I'll be talking about, and some will be mentioned in detail more than others. Also, I'd like to say that I'm not going to talk about what systems it should be for, because it's obviously will release on all 4 things, the PC, PS4, Switch, and Xbox. And as for the price, I'm kind of predicting it would be like in the $15 to $40 range. So with that out of the way, let's begin. Now, the first thing I want to see is something that people will probably get mad at me on. But except for some things that I'll touch up on later, I think Axel and Blaze should be the only returning characters in this game. Now, although people will get mad seeing no Skate, Adam, Max, Zan, and so forth, I think it first makes sense as they're the only 2 characters that have been in all 3 games. If people want to see the other characters and how they will look like in the game, I'd say put them as important NPCs via storyboards or cutscenes that should be added in the style of the 3rd game. Speaking of which, another reason for me wanting to play as only them is because we can have Axel and Blaze's relationship be more fleshed out in the aforementioned. Sure, people will say that beat-em-ups don't need no stories and stuff like that will mess up Axel and Blaze, but personally, I think it will make the game better. As I mentioned earlier, I talked about some things I'll touch up on later when it comes to playable characters. And what I mean by that is while we shouldn't see any returning faces, we should see some new ones. You're probably going to call me crazy for this, but these new faces I want to see in Streets of Rage 4 are not brand new characters, but guest characters, specifically Kazuma, Goro Majima, and Ryo Hazuki. Though some people may hate the idea of guest characters in games, I welcome it because it brings me excitement and it brings a bit of new, fresh life into something that could just end up completely forgotten. If you've played any of the game that the 3 characters are in, then you'd probably agree with me on this, that them as guest characters would work because the games that they're in surprisingly have a lot of beat-em-up gameplay, and seeing their fighting style incorporated into a 2D side-scroller was surprisingly fit. I personally will want them as unlockables, but if the company's going to the shitty route of having them as paid DLC, I'll be accepting of it. If Lizard Cube does fulfill my request in putting storyboards and cutscenes, the 3rd thing I'd like to see is something crazy, and I will love to see this game have 2 or 3 branching paths, including the ending, during said storyboards and cutscenes. spoiler warning for those that haven't played them, but the first and third game have multiple endings, and I will love to see that type of format here. It's pretty simple. Once you're done with the first stage, you get to have a choice during the cutscene or storyboard, and that choice can lead to the player playing different stages, fighting a different boss, leading to multiple endings. You kinda get the drill, right? Since Sega had no problem doing it in the endings for 1 and 3, expanding on it in this game can make people get their money's worth with replayability. Most console beat-em-ups during the 16-bit era did not have any extra gameplay modes, Streets of Rage included. But for the thing number 4 from what I want to see from this game, I want to see extra modes here and there. I'm gonna breeze through this request as it's not asking for much, but I think Streets of Rage 4 should have 3 extra modes. A versus mode where you get player versus player, a boss rush which needs no introduction, and a survival mode in seeing how many hordes of enemies the player can go through. You might say it's much, but this is a beat 'em up in the current gen, so stuff like this shouldn't be too much to ask for, right? The next 3 things, which are requests 5 through 7, are quick and simple things that don't need much explanation, so I'll put them into one big cluster and talk about each one in a few sentences. When it comes to special attacks that benefit the player in situations, I think it should be in the style of 2 because it combines risk and reward compared to missiles in 1, or the various times you can spam it in 3, as you had a rechargeable gauge that then deplete your health. As much as I like the remade designs of the old enemies, I personally want to fight new enemies in the title, be it grunts or bosses. In addition to this, I personally don't want to fight Mr. X again. Replace him with someone else and all will be good for me. And thing number 7 is that online co-op is mandatory. And I know for a fact that if Blizzard Cube does not put it in this game, this title will definitely be fucked. Enough said. Last but certainly not least, as request number 8, it cannot be a Streets of Rage game unless Yuzo Koshiro is at the helm of the soundtrack. Like whenever you hear people talk about Streets of Rage, what is the one thing most people praise about it? The soundtrack, of course. I mean, Koshiro's work on it is just so good, some consider him to be one of the best video game composers of all time. Hell, the famous hip-hop producer Just Blaze got his name from Streets of Rage's Blaze Field game, and that's a fun fact I just recently found out. Even though he's a music composer and not the director or producer, the series is synonymous with Koshiro, and not having him would be one of the dumbest decisions ever. Fortunately, I've heard that they're trying to get him on the project. And that's all my requests for the Streets of Rage 4 video. Even though most likely some of them might not even happen, I'm okay with it because it's looking to be promising, as I'm saying again, and this will definitely be on my buy list. But I'm just wanna make this video to try and probably help him out. Yeah. And that's all for this. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Take it easy, and until next video. And look forward to more videos on this channel because I'm trying to get back into the swing of it.